A family bound, our hearts together. We laugh, we cry, through thick and thin. In every challenge, we begin again. Truth Seekers 88, our home filled with love and light, sharing dreams in day and night. On the truth train we ride as one, helping each other, everyone. We talk of the truths of our ancient lands. Together we stand, hand in hand. In our disagreements, we find a way to grow, to learn each passing day. Truth Seekers 88, our home filled with love and light, sharing dreams in day and night. On the truth train we ride as one, helping each other, everyone. In every thought and every word, voices strong, our truths are heard. With open hearts, we stand as friends, a bond that never ends. Expressing thoughts, we find our peace. In unity, our spirits release. Helping others with all we know. In the light of truth we grow. Truth Seekers 88, our home filled with love and light, sharing dreams in day and night. On the truth train we ride as one, helping each other, everyone. So here's to Mike, the sheepdogs in us, our family. In seeking truth, we find our way, together stronger, every day.
I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful day. We got people jumping on still. Um, we we missed y'all last night. But we had a great live Q&A. If you're not in the trust class, um, it's not too late. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that. Um, we did have a good time sharing with everybody, and for those that wanted to watch the speech last night, I think we ended the Q&A just in time for everybody to go and watch the speech. I didn't go. I didn't go purposely and seek it out myself. Um, and what I did see of it when I stumbled upon it was I fell asleep before we even got started. Good, and I will talk about what I did see here in a few minutes. But I just want to say hello to everybody. It was a crazy day weather-wise here. Lots of thunderstorms, high winds on occasion. The internet and phone service in and out all day. I think we're pretty solid right now as far as all that goes. As the sun came out around 3 p.m. and the clouds started clearing, and the wind is still out there, but it's very light compared to the way it was earlier today. Some other areas, just people that I spoke to had it a little bit rougher than here. Some windows actually broken from the wind and stuff like that, but no real significant issues from what I've found out so far. So I just want to tell everybody to stay positive, to keep your head up, and remember that we got this. We got this. With that being said, let's say hello to the sheepdogs. Mr. and Mrs. Sheepdog, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Mike. We had a storm here yesterday. It rained pretty hard. The wind was really strong, but um, and then afterwards it passed. Then the sun came out. It was beautiful, and then our lights went out. Just went out. Like it didn't go out during the storm, but it went out when it was nice and sunny. But it was weird. It was out for several hours, but then came back on. But yeah, it wasn't too bad where we were, so I'm grateful for that. But glad to be here. Looking forward to the show.
Thank you, Mrs. Sheepdog. Glad you're here with us tonight. Hey, Sheepdog, what's up?
Oh, not much. Having a good day.
Right on.
Yeah, just enjoying the shit show.
All right. Hot dogs. Get your hot dogs.
Right.
And I know most people don't.
Everybody's out of damn popcorn.
I know most people don't agree, but that's fine. We can all disagree. But I didn't hear a lot. There was a lot that wasn't said last night that should have been said. But again,
yeah,
I didn't see.
Let's get into that. Man.
Bring any human trafficking survivors up and put them up in the top balcony so he could show everybody. Instead, he didn't mention Epstein, nothing. So whatever.
What about the vaccine?
No, none of that. Warp speed, he didn't brag about that. That's old news, right? Apparently.
Right.
But
any praise Pam Bondi?
Yeah. Well,
yep.
I said,
yep.
Yeah, doing a great job.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's that word "great." There's a little something we can hang on to there, right?
Right.
Well, I don't know if he exactly said that.
Yeah, if you got your Cracker Jack Dakota ring, you might find some of that stuff in there, right?
Yeah. There's no plan for the
Dakota ring. Yeah. There was a lot of propaganda, which was really distasteful. I thought.
You didn't talk about the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, and Sheepdog. Sorry.
No, with the little kid, and the one speed cop has cancer. Just using a child as propaganda, which is, I think, yeah, I mean, that's what they've always done that. So it's nothing new, but, it became a Secret Service last night.
Yeah, he didn't talk about the homeless vets. He didn't talk about the homeless crisis we're having. None of that.
None of the real issues. Yeah.
None of the real issues were spoken of at all.
No.
The issues that really matter. How people not being able to afford their houses and fucking not having transportation, some people not having food. That shit matters. And that wasn't discussed in their golden age bullshit talk last night.
I read somewhere that he blamed the high price of eggs on Biden, who's shot.
It sure did.
Blame the eggs, Biden.
It was Biden and the Democrats.
The actor. Right. Like, guess what, Mike? The grocery stores, all the corporate grocery stores donate to your politicians. So the egg prices are because of not the fucking who the president is. That has nothing to do. This is BlackRock Enterprises, Yeah,
absolutely. The Black Cube, right?
Yep.
Well, the part I did see before I fell asleep was when he touted himself as the greatest president ever, right? And then comparatively only to George Washington. And that's the kind of the part of the show where I want to start out tonight. Okay. First off, George Washington that the people know is this clown right here in the picture. Okay. That is Adam Weishaupt, who played the role of George Washington and Albert Pike. And who else, Mrs. Sheepdog? He's also the founder of the Illuminati.
Yes.
That's why they keep praising him.
Yeah,
That's why
exactly why they keep praising.
That's why they did the inauguration up under that mural of George Washington being God at the Capitol.
Right. A deity. Yeah, a deity.
Yeah.
Yep.
He didn't talk about North Carolina getting them any kind of assistance at all. Nothing. No, not California, not Florida, none of it.
Wow.
No, but you can get a gold card to be a citizen
for $5 million. But them brown people got to go.
Right? The copper skin people got to go.
Them people picking your crops and shit, putting the food in your table, they got to go.
Yeah.
But bring in the rich people.
Ridiculous.
Charge them $5 million. And then also, if they got $5 million to pay for a citizenship, they also got money to come here and build their company so that you could be working for them.
So Trump offered the Trump card offered was pitched a couple of different ways. The way he did it, which is telling rich people if you pay him $5 million, you'll get a gold card, U.S. citizen, right? And the way some others did it, in alternative media, saying that Trump was going to give you $5 million, okay, which is another psyop, right? A psyop within a psyop. So people have asked that question, Sheepdog. Good point. Well, thanks for bringing that out. I started this piece on history, the true history, last week. Okay. So now that we know that this version of George Washington, a lot of people don't know this, you got to kind of pull the veil back and look behind the curtain to see it. But this is Adam Weishaupt. This is not George Washington, but that's the one they want you to believe is George Washington, right? All right. George Washington's tenure as inaugural president of the United States began on April 30th, 1789. That was the day of his first inauguration, not March the 4th, but April 30th. And it ended on March the 4th, 1797. The Continental Congress was the early form of government of the USA for 16 years, from 1774 to 1789. It was made up of 55 representatives, 35 Moors, 20 European sons from the original 13 states. The Continental Congress first came together to protest certain measures of the British Parliament. It also urged the colonists to arm themselves in defense of their rights. Before this meeting closed, the delegates agreed to meet a second time. By the time the second meeting was held, the American Revolutionary War had started. These 35 Moors stemmed from 5 of the 13 states: New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and North Carolina. That is case law, in fact, right? See Judge Charles Curtis dissenting opinion versus Justice Taney concerning the Dred Scott decision. Many of you may know about the Dred Scott decision. We'll get into that later. It's a piece I'm working on right now. But we're going to dive into the 13th Amendment also, so people can quit telling me that I got it wrong, that black people couldn't have been president, or copper-skinned people couldn't have been president because of their belief in their false history, right? So the United States of America did not have an official written government until the Articles of Confederation was signed in 1781, which is right before it won its independence from Britain. John Hanson, a a copper skinned man, okay, was one of those 14th presidents of Congress. John Hanson was president from 1781 to 1783. Hanson was the only president to carry the true seal of the Moorish National Republic 8 years before George Washington and the Assault started the U.S. Corp. And like I said, the original George Washington was a copper skinned man. He was replaced by the one wearing a wig and a gown. And we all know the game of the Illuminati. They transgender their firstborn. You know, they run around with the LGBTQ narrative often. All right. All right. So this is a picture of John Hanson right here, folks. All right. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the 14 presidents of the United States before George Washington. Peyton Randolph was the first. Okay. A pre-revolutionary American politician born in James City, County, Williamsburg, Virginia, and educated at the College of William and Mary, an influential member of the Virginia House of Burgesses from 1748 until his death. In 1764, he rallied the opposition of the Burgess legislators against the threatened Stamp Act. Okay, these are good key terms that you can go look things up. Against the threatened Stamp Act. Okay, that was in 1764. In 1766, he became Speaker of the House, a position he retained for the rest of his life. Randolph was appointed to the First Continental Congress at Philadelphia County and served as its president in September of 1774 and then afterwards in May of 1775, as he served again as the third president, which is the first president of the Second Continental Congress. Arthur Henry Middleton was the second president, okay? A planter, legislator, signer of the Declaration of Independence, and one of the leaders in the controversies that preceded the outbreak of the American Revolution. Born in Middleton Place near Charleston County, South Carolina, after completing his education in England, he returned to South Carolina in 1763 and was elected to its legislature, the House of Assembly. He served as president of the Continental Congress in October 1774. Between 1775 and 1776, he was a member of the Council of Safety, a committee that provided leadership in the first state's preparation for revolution. He served on the legislative committee that drafted its state's constitution and was a delegate to the Continental Congress between 1776 and 1778. At the siege of Charleston in 1780, he served in the militia and was taken prisoner when the city fell to the British. He was sent to St. Johns County, St. Augustine, Florida, as a POW. St. Augustine's, Florida. Hint, hint, folks. All right, St. Johns County. After being exchanged in 1781, he became a member of the Continental Congress, was placed in the Black House of Assembly, and went on the original board of trustees of the College of Charleston. The third one was John Hancock, an American patriot, statesman, first to sign the Declaration of Independence, born in Norfolk County, Braintree, now part of Quincy, Massachusetts, and educated at Harvard College, which is now Harvard University. After graduating in 1754, he joined the mercantile firm of his uncle and guardian, the colonial businessman Thomas Hancock. In 1764, he inherited the business and a substantial fortune. He was elected to the state's legislature 2 years later. He also served as president of the United States in November of 1785 to June of 1786. He was member of the Continental Congress from 1775 to 1780, serving as a presiding officer during the first 2 years until October 1777. He was the first governor of Massachusetts from 1780 to 1785 and 1789 to his death. He initially opposed the Constitution for the United States of America, but later supported it and served as president of the Massachusetts Convention that approved this Constitution. The reason why he opposed it, and so did several others that were on here that weren't mentioned in their bio, is because there was no written part of this. The Iroquois tribe warned the people, these people, that writing it would cause problems. Okay, and as we can see, it did, right? So Henry Laurens, was the fourth one, an American colonial statesman born in Charleston County, South Carolina, where he was educated and became a successful merchant there. In 1764, he became a planter. He served almost continuously in the Colonial Assembly from 1757 to 1774. In 1775, he was president of the state's legislature, then vice president of South Carolina from 1776 to 1777, then to become a member of the Continental Congress, serving as president starting in November of 1777 to December of 1778. Congress appointed him as an envoy to negotiate a treaty with the Dutch, but he was captured at sea by the British and imprisoned in the Tower of London. In 1781, he was exchanged for British General Charles Cornwallis, who had surrendered. Late in 1782, Laurens was a singer of the preliminary peace treaty ending the American Revolution and later returned to South Carolina. The fifth one was John Jay, an American statesman, jurist, and the first Chief Justice of the United States of America, born in New York City and educated at King's College, which is now Columbia University. He was admitted to the bar in 1768 and represented the point of view of the American merchants in protesting British restrictions on the commercial activities of the colonies. He was elected to the Continental Congress in 1774 and again in 1775. He drafted the first state's constitution, was appointed Chief Justice of the state in 1777. The following year, he was again elected to Continental Congress and chosen as president. In Paris in 1782, he was one of the commissioners who negotiated the Treaty of Paris, ending the American Revolution. From 1784 to 1789, he was Secretary of Foreign Affairs. The effectiveness of the Articles of Confederation led him to become a proponent, of a strong national government. With Alexander Hamilton and James Madison, he wrote the series of articles called the Federalist, who urged ratification of the Constitution for the USA. In 1789, President George Washington appointed him as Chief Justice. In 1794, when war with Britain threatened due to controversies over the Treaty of Paris, he was appointed by Washington to negotiate a settlement. He went to Great Britain and concluded the agreement known as the Jay Treaty. On his return, he discovered that during his absence, he had been elected governor of New York State. He resigned from the court and served as governor from 1795 to 1801. He spent the rest of his life in retirement. Number 6 was Samuel Huntington. Samuel Huntington was president of the Continental Congress and the Congress of the Confederation from September 1779 to July 1781. Signer of the Declaration of Independence and governor of his place of birth, Connecticut, where he served in its assembly in 1765 and was appointed as a judge of the Superior Court in 1774. He was a member of the Governor's Council from 1775 to 1783 after which time he returned to Connecticut to become a Chief Justice of its state Supreme Court in 1784, then becoming a Lieutenant Governor in 1785, then becoming a governor in 1786. He was reelected each year thereafter until his death. Thomas McKean, President of the Continental Congress from July 1781 to November 1781, serving as both a delegate to the Continental Congress and the Congress of the Confederation starting at 1774 to 1783. He was a Delaware signer of the Declaration of Independence and was governor of Pennsylvania from 1799 to 1808, during which times he restrained radical politicians whose plans were to reduce the Commonwealth to a condition of anarchy. Born in Chester County, New London, Pennsylvania, he studied law and wrote most of the Delaware state constitution. Number 8 was John Hanson. Okay. Born in Maryland, being a Moorish patriot for this state in the American Revolution, when the Articles of Confederation were ratified on March 1, 1781, no elections were held or even discussed for selecting, notice I said selecting, a new president. Instead, Samuel Huntington continued to serve as president of Congress until he asked to be relieved due to ill health on July 6, 1781. On July 9th, Samuel Johnston was selected as Huntington's replacement, but he declined the office the next day. And so Thomas McKean was elected as the next presiding officer. This is the reason why John Hanson was classified as the first president of the new nation under the Articles of Confederation. He was elected by Congress as the President of the United States, and Congress assembled, therefore being the first President of the United States. As a member of the States Assembly from 1757, he became active in the resistance to British tax measures in the 1760s and was an early supporter of independence. As a delegate to the Continental Congress and the Congress of the Confederation from 1780 to 1782, he signed the Articles of Confederation and played an important part in persuading New York and Virginia to give up their claims to Western territory. All right, and the rest of these are right here. I'm not going to go through all of them. I wanted to get through the first 8. Elias Boudinot is one of them. Thomas Mifflin, Richard Henry Lee, Nathaniel Gorham, Arthur St. Clair, and Cyrus Griffin. Okay, were the first 14 presidents of the Continental Congress. Notice a good while back that me and the sheepdogs were telling you that there is no executive branch outside of Congress. Okay, that office was created when George Washington, right? That's why they deemed him the first one. Which is usurping the original republic. All right. So remember, I said George Washington was the soft beginnings of the full-on corporation. Okay, when I say soft, I don't mean, this pretty neat, gingerly tiptoeing through the tulips kind of set up either, but they were usurping and suppressing the people on the Aboriginals from that point forward at a greater rate than they already were. Okay, there's a lot of history there. Okay, so this one has really thrown some folks for a loop too. This is Abraham Lincoln. All right. Abraham Lincoln's not white. No, white is a label. Okay, quit trying to label yourself skin color, but it is talked about law versus race. Okay, and we're going to get to that here with the 13th Amendment in just a minute. All right, so the real Abraham Lincoln, please stand up, right? The 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, lived from February 12th, 1809 and April 15th, 1865. He was born in Hodgenville, Kentucky, and his family had made their way there from Virginia. He was 6 feet 4 inches tall, President Abraham Lincoln was a descendant of Melungeons, who were sometimes referred to as Tawny Moors. Okay. Before being elected president, he was a lawyer who belonged to the Whig, Republican, and National Union parties. He is most famous for being known as the emancipator for successfully leading his country through its greatest constitutional, military, and moral crisis, the American Civil War, preserving the Union while ending slavery and promoting economic and financial modernization. In the book called The Five Negro Presidents, okay, by the author J.A. Rogers, states, Lincoln was said to be the illegitimate son of a Negro by Nancy Hanks. In his campaign for the presidency, he was often referred to as a Negro by his opponents. He was even depicted as a Negro. He was called Abraham Africanus the First. All right. What gave strength to this was that his hair was more Negroid than Caucasian. So was his complexion. Of his father, Lincoln said, his face was round, his complexion swarthy, hair black and coarse, eyes brown. Of himself, of dark complexion with coarse black hair and dark eyes. Herndon, his closest friend and law partner, said he had very dark skin. His confidential servant, William Slade, as an ex-slave and Negro, was much fairer and had straight hair. Slade looked like a white man, Herndon said. There was something about Lincoln's origin he never cared to dwell on. Other writers agree that Herndon Coleman says, all we know about President Lincoln's parentage and birth are two brief records. One, an entry in the Bible in his own handwriting that he was born on February 12, 1809, and the other, a brief autobiography which he gave to Mr. Jesse R. Fell in December 1859 for a campaign sketch. Sketch artists made pictures of President Abraham Lincoln intending to shame and make fun of his Moorish lineage by calling him Abraham Africanus the First. This first appeared in the Richmond, Virginia Inquirer, okay? And that's this pic right here, all right? That's this pic right here of him. So we'll keep going here, okay? Let me get back to where I was. Sorry about that. All right. So interestingly enough, one of the first physicians to help President Abraham Lincoln after he was shot at the Ford's Theater was a man named Albert Freeman, an Africanus king. There were many tasks with which President Abraham Lincoln had to deal. Two of them involved saving the Union while implementing laws of freedom pertaining to those held as slaves. As for the Union, you can read an excerpt of President Abraham Lincoln's response to Horace Greeley of the New York Tribune, July 1862. As to the policy I seem to be pursuing, as you say, I'm not meant to leave anyone in doubt. I would save the Union. I would save it in the shortest way under the Constitution. The sooner the national authority can be restored, the nearer the Union will be the Union as it was. If there was those who would not save the Union unless they could at the same time save slavery, I do not agree with them. My paramount object is to save the Union and not either to save or destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. If I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. If I could do it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that. What I do about slavery and the colored race, I do because I believe it helps to save this Union. And what a forebear, I forbear because I do not believe it would help to save the Union. I shall correct errors when shown to be errors, and I shall adopt new views so fast as they shall appear to be true views. I have here stated my purpose according to my views of official duty. I intend no modification of my oft expressed personal wishes that all men everywhere could be free. Yours, Abraham Lincoln. One thing to remember is that the Union President Abraham Lincoln spoke about the same Union mentioned in the preamble of the United States Constitution is a union in which the majority was of Moorish extraction. The union consists of Moors and European sons, as the laws of freedom pertaining to those held as slaves. President Abraham Lincoln used executive orders to accomplish his goals, and those executive orders were or are the initial Emancipation Proclamation, September 22nd, 1862. The Compensated Emancipation Proclamation, December 1, 1862. The Supplemental Emancipation Proclamation, January 1, 1863. And the Proclamation of Amnesty and Reconstruction, December 8, 1863. Those all three can be looked up, folks. Library of Congress. In addition, Mr. Lincoln guaranteed the passage of the 13th Amendment with its original 20 sections after it was rejected in 1864. The amendment was successfully passed on January 31st, 1865, and subsequently ratified by 3/4 of several states, becoming a permanent part of the Constitution on November 1865. This is why Prophet Noble Drew Ollie references 1865 in Act 6 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Unknown to so many, President Abraham Lincoln was spiritually oriented. Mr. Lincoln was best friends with a Moor, Pascal Beverly Randolph, who was a great spiritual master and the head of the Rosicrucian Order. The Rosicrucian Order, yes, in the United States and as well as other parts of the world. President Abraham Lincoln had good spiritual insights into affairs and trusted his intuition, dreams, visions, and spiritual guidance through his signs. This excerpt from the book The Resurrection by Timothy Dingle L. may serve to clarify the point. What the psychologists generally call physics phenomena, the popular judgment pronounces superstitions. But whatever they are, many great men have experienced them, and few have risen superior to them. Luther of Reformation and Fox of the Quakers believed more or less in the pet superstitions of their time. In the more modern world, they suppose superstitions have kept company with what are called physic experiences. In Lincoln's case, there are a number of instances, one of them consisted of which he read a definite and similar meaning, and from which he seemed to derive assurance and satisfaction. The late Senator George F. Hoar of Massachusetts quotes the following of his autobiography of 70 years. General Grant, in an interview with the president on the 14th of April, the day he was shot, expressed some anxiety as the news from Sherman. The president answered him in that singular vein of poetic mysticism, which, though constantly held in check by his strong common sense, formed a remarkable element in his character. He assured Grant that the news would come soon and come favorable, for he had last night his usual dream, which preceded great events. He seemed to be, he said, as in a singular, indescribable vessel, but always the same, moving with great rapidity towards a dark and indefinite shore. He had this dream before Antietam, Murfreesboro, Gettysburg, and Vicksburg. Over the years, many people were taught an incomplete history of President Abraham Lincoln and only parts of his speeches and writings. However, there are many things to learn about President Abraham Lincoln, including his role in maintaining the Union, his role in implementing laws to free pale and dark slaves in the South, Emancipation Proclamation, and then pale and dark slaves nationwide, 13th Amendment with 20 sections. Okay, so everybody coming at me to tell me that there's no way Abraham Lincoln could be black. or copper skinned. I'm not going to be. At first, my reaction is to tell you to kiss my ass, but I'm not. Everybody has a chance to discern their own truth. Okay, but when you see truth and you ignore it, that problem's on you. It's not on me, right? Go ahead, Sheepdog.
He was on the copper penny, right? Copper skin.
Yep, he was. Yep, absolutely. Okay. So the Moorish National Republic recently wrote an article about the 13th Amendment, based off of the Netflix series, The 13th. Okay, it's a documentary done on Netflix. It's very tastefully done, and they spoke highly of it. And here's the article. Okay, here is an article about the 13th Amendment from the Moorish National Republic. The 13th Amendment, along with the 20 original sections, are in fact public record and suppressed to have people believe in history that it is in fact false. Okay? Meaning that history is false. Okay? They started saying, peace to all. I peeped Ava DuVernay's documentary entitled 13th on Monday, October 10th, 2016. I was impressed with its coverage of how history, law, and race are connected. It was refreshing to see the cover get lifted from off the machine behind a large portion of our current legislation. I'm so grateful the creator moved her spirit and those of the entire cast and crew to produce this film in order to begin much needed public discussion on the topic of the 13th Amendment. If there's a part 2 in the works, I offer this article as a starting point for research covering how the original 13th Amendment with 20 sections was passed and ratified on November 18th, 1865 by 3/4 of the several states and is still the law but has been suppressed. My question is, why was the original amendment suppressed and replaced with the 13th Amendment highlighted in this poignant film? The actual 13th Amendment, 20 sections, contains and clearly explains how those who were freed from slavery after its abolishment were to receive compensation, land, free education, and other vital necessities to restore them into becoming productive citizens. The key word to begin our discussion is public. The relationships between the public and law is interconnected. Law affects the public affects law. In Black's Law Dictionary, Revised 4th edition, defines public when it is used as a noun, a person, place, or thing, and an adjective, that which describes a noun. Okay, so public is defined in the pics below in this reprint of the article here on my Facebook page. So as we now understand how public is defined in law, we realize this term relates to all the people of a particular place. To all the people of a particular place. The body of people at large, without reference to the geographical limits or of any corporation like a city, town, or county. The whole body of people. If we keep this in mind while we continue on, then it's simple. After one is shown sound information to see that when we use certain terms, which do not properly identify or address a particular group of people, our effort lose some of their effectiveness with the rest of the general public. Okay. Now, the film focuses on people of color, blacks and black people, African Americans, brown people, Negroes, were frequently used which came to be known as frequently used terms throughout the 13th by activists, scholars, entertainers, and others. However, usage of such terms, especially if there's no part 2 in the development, meaning that he's looking for a sequel to the first documentary, is where the 13th lost a bit of its punch for me. Noble Drew Ali wrote it in the Circle 7, Chapter 47, Keys 9 and 10, to all true and divine records of the human race. There is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family. There is no Negro, blacks, or colored race attached to the human family. 10. What your ancient forefathers and mothers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. The increased application of these terms stated when they were first applied to the to the autochthonous, original, aboriginal, and indigenous people of and in the Americas, Mrs. and Moors, publicly in 1779, when those of Moorish descent were stripped of their nationality in 1774 by colonizers and slaveholders of European descent. Okay, so were white Moors and black Moors. Okay, the Bidens, by all means, don't laugh at me, but the whites were Bidens. Okay, not in the family name, but that was the name for which, by law, they were labeled. Okay, and the blacks are obviously, African American or Negro, or and so on and so forth. Okay, just so everybody's clear, the 13th Amendment covers all people. All right, that's the point. Jesus was here 2,000 years ago. He didn't ask to speak to a certain group of color or race. Okay, he spoke to all people. What he had to say applied to all people. Didn't matter what land he was traveling through or on. Natural law applies to all. All right. So let's go back. Finish up. All right. So the increased application of these terms stated when they first applied to the, I've already read that. Sorry about that. Okay. So when they were stripped of their nationality in 1774 by colonizers and slaveholders of European descent, therefore any attempt of true political, social, economic change and protection of our human rights utilizing any of the aforementioned terms are rendered ineffective in the general public, including the courts of law, which, in my opinion, is one purpose the film was created, and that is to seek public redress for the issues highlighted throughout the film due to its inclusion of interviews with law professors, current and former members of U.S. Congress and U.S. presidential nominees. Now, one of the issues I've come across with a few of those of so-called African ancestry and born in America is that when most of them whom I've come in contact with and have tried to explain to them the fact that our nationality was taken from us, asked me for a reference. Some more subtly than others tend to be seeking a source that comes from a European or bureaucratic so-called white publication, or some other reference deemed publicly valid and accepted by the dominant Anglo culture of thought and outlook rather than the Moorish Americans. The point I raise with this line of thinking is that most of these well-intentioned folks forget in those moments of reasoning is that if so-called white people have systemically hidden, distorted, or erased parts of our historical legacies of fact, to propagate their alleged superiority while promoting our stupidity, laziness, and lower self-based activities, then what purpose does it serve him or her to publicly validate the keys and steps towards our actual freedom? A large portion of what the European has done in this country and others was planned behind closed doors, kept in secret, then executed or performed openly in public theater. This clandestine activity still takes place today. Unfortunately, since our public education system is controlled by members of these same clandestine groups, melanin-rich, olive, dark, and olive skinned people of the strongest minds fall victim to the thought and research patterns of melanin recessive processes. And information such as the importance of birthrights, nationality comes from others who may not have high school diplomas, college bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhDs. And we all know what PhD means now, right? Poor, helpless, and desperate, right? Or a show on the History Channel. It is quite often rejected and or acutely scrutinized, then ignored because these well-intentioned brothers and sisters have often taken on the world outlook of those born in America who also suffer and harm others due to their colorable educational training. 13th documentary by Ava DuVernay. Originally, Ava DuVernay's 13th documentary is October 18th, 2016. Peace to all, right? Okay. And then I'm not going to read the rest of the article, but I wanted to get that part out. Okay. And there you have it. The time has come where we really need to stand up with truth as we know it in our own square. Finding out that the Moorish National Republic was the first republic and the only republic of the United States of America. The United States of America is huge, okay, because it gives us a starting point. Understanding law when it comes to the public doesn't just necessarily mean institutional racism. It is a color of law for which all people are encapsulated, depending on beliefs and teachings. Okay. All right. That's why it's so important to understand that we have to forget everything we've been taught and go back and start over. Okay. It's being reborn again. It's a spiritual journey first and foremost, right? So that's why I'm going to read to you The Way of the Sovereign Mind, a manifesto for the Seeker of Truth by Jason Gray now. All right. Truth is not given. It is discovered. It is not inherited. It is earned. It is not contained within the walls of temples, the pages of books, or the lips of men. It exists beyond all these things, waiting for those with the courage to seek it for themselves. Most walk the world shackled to second-hand knowledge, their minds filled not with understanding, but with echoes of teachers, of tradition, of popular belief. They are prisoners of borrowed certainty, afraid to strip themselves bare and stand alone in the vastness of the unknown. But the path of the seeker is different. The seeker does not worship words, nor does he venerate those who speak them. He does not pledge his loyalty to ideas until they have been tested in the crucible of experience. He is not swayed by the weight of history, nor by the voice of the multitude. To walk this path is to stand upon the precipice of the unknown and take the step that no one else dares to take, to step into direct knowing. Do not look to the teacher, look to the truth. No man, no matter how wise, holds the keys to your understanding. No man, no matter how wise, holds the keys to your understanding. Those who claim to have all the answers often have none. Those who insist upon their authority are the ones who should be questioned most. A teacher may point the way, but the way must be walked alone. A guide may illuminate a path, but the light must be carried within. Worship no man. Follow no leader blindly. The higher wisdom does not come from another. It comes from your own direct realization. Do not cling to words. Seek the meaning beyond them. Language is the imperfect vessel. It can describe, but it cannot contain. It can hint, but it cannot reveal. Truth is not found in the arrangement of syllables, nor in the poetry of verses. It exists before speech beyond explanation. The fool memorizes texts and recites them as if wisdom were something to be repeated. The wise one listens beyond the words, sensing the current beneath them. He does not mistake the map for the territory. He does not mistake the menu for the meal. To grasp the ungraspable, one must silence the mind and listen with the soul. Theory is an illusion. Experience is reality. A man may study the nature of fire for a lifetime, but unless he has burned, he knows nothing of its reality. A scholar may write endlessly of love, yet without having loved, his words are but empty ink upon a page. Knowledge, when untested, is a mirage. To know a thing, one must live it. Do not settle for ideas. Do not be satisfied with explanations. If you wish to know the depths of the ocean, you must dive. If you wish to understand the stars, you must stand beneath them. If you seek truth, you must surrender to it fully. Let it tear apart your illusions. Let it dismantle your comforts. Let it rebuild you anew. Do not accept something as true simply because you have heard it. The world is filled with voices, but few of them speak truth. Lies are passed down as fact. Falsehoods become culture. Reputation gives birth to belief, but belief is not knowledge. The seeker does not mistake familiarity for truth. He does not assume that because an idea is spoken often, it must be real. He questions all, regardless of how deeply it is embedded in the world around him. Truth is not determined by volume, nor by the number of voices that proclaim it. A whisper in the dark, if true, is worth more than 1,000 shouting deceivers. The weight of time does not make an idea true. There are those who insist that an idea must be valid because it has survived the ages, that traditions having stood the test of time must be upheld. That wisdom, by virtue of being ancient, must be questionable. But time does not bestow truth. It merely preserves whatever has not yet been destroyed. Falsehoods can endure for millennia. Ignorance can be passed from generation to generation. A lie does not decay simply because it is old. A seeker does not ask, how long has this been believed? He asks, does this stand against reason and experience? He weighs each teaching not by its age, but by its truth. The voice of many is not the voice of truth. The masses have always walked in step with illusion. They have burned the wise and crowned the foolish. They have followed false leaders, worshiped false idols, and surrendered themselves to the comfort of false certainty. The seeker does not look to the crowd for direction. He does not seek validation in numbers. If all the world proclaims the sky is red, but his own eyes see blue, he trusts his sight. Truth has never been a democratic process. Reality does not bend to opinion. The seekers must be prepared to stand alone, for the path of truth is walked in solitude. Sacred texts are not sacred truth. Many believe that words once written become divine, that a book once declared holy becomes unquestionable. The ink upon a page is final authority. But no scripture, no doctrine, no sacred law is immune to scrutiny. A book may contain truth, but truth is not contained within any book. The seeker does not bow before text. He seeks the reality behind it. If the words behind a book align with reason, let them be embraced. If they do not, let them be discarded. Truth is not bound to pages. It is found within the depths of experience. No title bestows wisdom. No rank grants knowledge. A crowd does not make a man wise. A robe does not make a man enlightened. A title, be it priest, scholar, or master, is but a name, empty without understanding. The seeker does not revere authority for its own sake. He does not assume the ages grants wisdom, nor the power grants knowledge. He listens not to the voice that speaks the loudest, but to the one that speaks the truth. Tell all who claim to teach, weigh their words. If they speak truth, embrace it, not because of who they are, but because of what they reveal. That which elevates, that which enlightens, live it. After all has been questioned, after all illusions have been cast aside, the final step is to embody that which remains. If an idea stands against reason yet aligns with experience, embrace it. If it withstands the fire of doubt, make it your own. Let truth shape you, not as a poison of the mind, but as a force that moves through you. To seek is not enough. To understand is not enough. Trust not be believed. Truth must not be believed. It must be lived. Thus, let all who walk this path remember, the mind must be free, the soul must be sovereign, and the truth must be earned. This is not a way of the follower. This is not the way of the believer. This is the way of the knower. I thought that very good to read too, because we're having a lot come at us now, and you really have to live what truth you seek in order to stand in that square and claim your truth. With that, I yield, Sheepdog. Thank you.
That was pretty good, Mike.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you.
So how did everybody like their State of the Eggs address? I mean, State of the Union address. Was that awesome?
Oh my
Did
God.
you like that? You like how they?
Yeah, and you just woke up in chickens again, Sheepdog. They're out there raising hell now.
So it's what Trump doesn't say is what I look at. I don't give a shit about all the other stuff about billions and trillions of dollars coming in and jobs created. That shit don't mean shit when the people are living paycheck to paycheck. Over 50%, some say 70% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck. That wasn't discussed last night. All right. And what they showed you was a psychological operation to make you think that they're divided. They all get paychecks from the same people. They work for all behind the scenes. They're united. They're not divided. You stay divided. You keep saying Democrat, Republican to each other online and going at each other. So as long as you stay divided, they stay united, then this shit show just keeps rolling on. But all you can do right now is save yourself. And because you got way too many people that are, they have free will and their destiny is something quite different than yours. Everyone has their own separate destiny. So you can't expect everyone to see what you see and hear what you hear and understand what you understand. So just leave those people where they're at. Don't waste your time on them. Keep it moving. Save yourself. Save your family. Stay healthy. Unvaccinated. If you want to get a vaccine, go ahead. But if you plan on taking care of your children for the rest of their lives, go ahead and play with that Russian roulette game all you want. I know way too many single moms that or that have 20 to 30-year-old kids with autism. They can't even leave the house because their kids are so bad. I mean, I've seen the worst case of autism in my life from a friend of mine's son. It's pretty bad, man. And she spends every day having to take care of him and for the rest of her life. So it's a real deal, and you keep ignoring the elephant in the room at the State of the Eggs address, but it's going to come out. So everybody's waiting on the military. The military came. They gave you the vaccine, the DOD. Right, Operation Warp Speed fast-tracked all these vaccines. They didn't have to test them, and now we're dealing with a bunch of censored people that are being censored with vaccine injuries. How come nobody's talking about it anymore? Right. So here we got Operation Warp Speed. How it worked: the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Defense partnered to develop a vaccine. Who's the DOD? That's your military. Department of Defense. So be careful what you ask for. Operation Warp Speed, OWS, was a public-private partnership between the U.S. government and companies that sped up the development. manufacturing and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines and treatments. Well, Sheepdog, why are you bringing that up? Well, because you got vaccine injured people that are being silenced and censored by your government. Here's a trailer called Follow the Silenced. I'm going to go over this real quick. I'm going to play it real quick. We'll kind of give everybody a reminder since we forgot. But there's the Trump administration, Biden administration, or whoever fake ass administration you want to say it is going to have to answer to why this was pushed forward and why they allowed so many people to be injured and not only injured, but death. And according to the reports, millions worldwide.
Maddie? The first question was, why isn't the United States looking in our own backyard for our data?
Madeline. Hey, honey, it's Daddy.
But they were. They just weren't telling us what it said.
Maddie? 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 Hey, what the matter?
Is this okay? Did she get invited to the State of the Eggs address? Nope.
Most of you have never heard of me.
I did my part. I got it.
And most likely have never heard of most of us here.
I'm scared and sad and hurting too. I am you, and I just want someone to help me too. Thank you, guys.
I would like to introduce, I'm proud to introduce, Miss Brianne Dressen.
I don't know where to go. Her cause of death, her actual cause of death is back on this thing.
Thanks for returning my call.
I did not mean to be the one to do my mother. Still
Every single day.
The worst part was I could not walk. I couldn't move my arms or legs. I was walking, shaking. I couldn't think about moving my legs.
I can't feel my legs. I can't feel anything.
They're not calling the FDA, they're calling us.
I don't want to die. I want to still live for my kids.
Blood clot in his internal jugular vein.
Next week is his birthday. You know what? I'm going to celebrate his birthday at.
Why it is the responsibility of sick people to do this is beyond me. I participated in the clinical trial for AstraZeneca. She participated in the Pfizer COVID vaccine trial. They dropped me from the trial.
35 adverse events. Reduced to functional abdominal pain. It's a stomach ache. I wonder what else was hidden.
The truth is not out there. And it's thanks to these guys. They've done everything they can to hide people, to hide injustices, and to even literally hide the cries of those people that are suffering.
If we try to talk about it on social media, you get banned. People don't know we even exist.
Denise Hertz is on an email string with the heads of the NIH.
These are safe and effective products.
The CDC.
There is no bad time to get your second shot.
The heads of the FDA.
We have very good safety surveillance systems in place.
If you look at VAERS database, there are more than 1,000 neurological side effects already reported.
None of us are denying that there's potential vaccine entry here.
We already have 1,200 people who've died.
And that's in about 2 months of availability.
For these mRNA vaccines, there is incredible BS out there about thousands of people dying, etc. That just ain't true.
This stack of patients are patients that are stuck. There were 50 to 100 reports going missing. I mean, VAERS IDs being disappeared. If they put down that it was a vaccine injury, they actually won't get reimbursed, so it gets labeled as anxiety.
Diagnosed with vertigo, severe panic attack.
Functional neurologic disorder.
Infectious use disorder.
So basically, she was making it up.
I was muffled. I was told I was wrong. I was told to go home, and I was told not to talk.
These are human lives. They're just going to stay in limbo forever.
There was a whistleblower early on, Brooke Jackson, last year.
I contacted the FDA and submitted a formal complaint.
They're unblinding patients.
How many studies do you run where you take the placebo group and give them the vaccine too?
I threatened to go public
no matter what the consequence was.
They killed my baby. I'm not going to stop this fight.
I told my family that I was going to end my life. I got to look at my son and tell him, honey, I'm going to be okay. But in my heart, I don't know if I'm going to be okay. I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be in a wheelchair the rest of my life.
It broke my son to hear that his mom wanted to die because she had gotten a COVID vaccine.
These are human stories. These aren't people with political agendas. If I was an anti-vaxxer, I wouldn't have been standing in the freaking line to get the shot.
Let's call my daughter back.
So this story has everything to be interesting, right? You've got scandal.
FEMA had offered me money if I changed my son's death certificate from enlarged heart to COVID.
You've got secrets.
The FDA wanted 75 years to release this data.
And what the FDA did to me was contact Pfizer and get me fired.
We don't have any secrets here.
You've got money.
Patent for the Moderna vaccine is owned by the Department of Health and Human Services.
Can y'all see this video? Everybody in the chat saying they can't see the video. Am I on the screen?
I'm seeing it. Let me check Rumble.
It's not showing up on Rumble or the .com either.
Why is that?
Yeah, that's weird. It's playing on our end.
Yeah, it's playing in StreamYard. It's not showing up on Facebook either. And it's not showing up on LinkedIn.
That's weird.
Can y'all see my screen now?
Yes, sir. We can see you dialing in.
We could.
To something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, chat. Can you see this screen?
Hold on 1 second. All right, it's popped on the .com. Yes, we see it now on the .com. Let me see on Rumble. Yes, we see it now on Rumble.
All right.
And yes, on Facebook too.
All right, here we go. Let's start over. Sorry, guys. I don't know what that was about.
It's just a glitch, and it happens. We're going through so many changes that stuff can happen, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, buddy.
All right. If you have any more issues, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and start it over. This pretty powerful documentary here. This is coming out on the 15th, here in about 10 days. I'm going to go ahead and give it the information. This documentary followed the silence produced by executive producers Texans for Vaccine Choice, Mickey Willis and Steve Kirsch. Will have its world premiere at the upcoming Santa Monica Festival, hosted at the Directors Guild Theater Complex. For the past few years, the film crew has been intimately documenting the lives of everyday Americans who have been seriously injured immediately following their COVID-19 vaccinations. In the process of documenting these diverse stories across the United States, the filmmakers uncovered a large story behind a successful campaign to conceal the true scope of injuries from these vaccines. This is the hidden story of the human cost of censorship. Remember, we were all censored by the Facebook and all that shit. It shut us all down. Well, it cost people their lives. What begins as a simple quest for appropriate medical care becomes an eye-opening journey that exposes the frightening reality behind the scenes of our nation's healthcare system. Federal regulatory agencies entrusted with our health and safety, and what has recently been described as the censorship industrial complex, which is crazy. At the heart of this story is a call to action. Abandoned by their doctors, abandoned by the U.S. government, and abandoned by the pharmaceutical companies, the injured create a community to heal each other and give voice to the voiceless. Through their formation of React 19, these injured individuals discover the cause of their injuries, the research to prove it, and the treatments to restore their health. The premiere date is going to be Saturday, March 15th at 11 a.m. Discussion panel at 1 p.m. Venue Directors Guild Theater Complex. You can also go to the website at SantaMonicaFilmFestival.com. SantaMonicaFilmFestival.com. Here's the clip right here. That's what you're looking for. The silence. See this? Wow, where have I seen these black markers at, Mike? Have you? Where is this the same Epstein marker they use right here?
Yep.
Wow.
We got more than Epstein list.
I'm starting to see it. Yeah. Wow. It must just be a coincidence, I'm sure. I'm sure it's not by the same people, right? Wink, wink. Okay. But in all seriousness, these people weren't invited to the State of the Eggs address last night. Instead, they ran some other bullshit propaganda. You know, you show a little 13-year-old boy with cancer when they got the cure for cancer. That's just disgusting to me.
Yeah, right.
Maddie? The first question was, why isn't the United States looking in our own backyard for our data?
Madeline, hey honey, it's Daddy.
But they were. They just weren't telling us what it said.
Maddie? 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 Hey, what's the matter?
Most of you have never heard of me.
I did my part. I got it.
And most likely have never heard of most of us here.
I'm scared and sad and hurting too. I am you, and I just want someone to help me too. Thank you, guys.
I would like to introduce, I'm proud to introduce, Miss Brianne Dressen.
I don't know where to go. Her cause of death, her actual cause of death is back on this day.
Thanks for returning my call.
I did not want to be the one to do my mother.
Every single day.
The worst part was I could not walk. Couldn't move my arms or legs. I was walking shaking. I couldn't take a boat.
I couldn't move. I can't feel my legs. I can't feel anything.
They're not calling the FDA, they're calling us.
I don't want to die. I want to still live for my kids.
Blood clot in his internal jugular vein.
Next week is his birthday. You know what I'm going to celebrate his birthday at?
Why it is the responsibility of sick people to do this. It's beyond. I participated in the clinical trial for AstraZeneca. She participated in the Pfizer COVID vaccine trial. They dropped me from the trial.
35 adverse events. Reduced to functional abdominal pain. It's a stomach ache. I wonder what else was hidden.
The truth is not out there. And it's thanks to these guys. They've done everything they can to hide people, to hide injustices, and to even literally hide the cries of those people that are suffering.
If we try to talk about it on social media, you get banned. People don't know we even exist.
Denise Hertz is on an email string with the heads of the NIH.
These are safe and effective products.
The CDC.
There is no bad time to get your second shot.
The heads of the FDA.
We have very good safety surveillance systems in place.
If you look at VAERS database, there are more than 1,000 neurological side effects already reported.
None of us are denying that there's potential vaccine entry here.
We already have 1,200 people who've died.
And that's in about 2 months of availability.
For these mRNA vaccines, there is incredible BS out there about thousands of people dying, etc. That just ain't true.
This stack of patients that are stuck. There were 50 to 100 reports going missing. I mean, VAERS IDs being disappeared. If they put down that it was a vaccine injury, they actually won't get reimbursed, so it gets labeled as anxiety.
Diagnosed with vertigo, severe panic attack.
Functional neurologic disorder.
Factitious disorder. So basically, she was making it up.
I was muffled. I was told I was wrong. I was told to go home, and I was told not to talk.
These are human lives. They're just going to stay in limbo forever.
There was a whistleblower early on, Brooke Jackson, last year.
I contacted the FDA and submitted a formal complaint.
They're unblinding patients. How many studies do you run where you take the placebo group and give them vaccine to?
I threatened to go public no matter what the consequence was.
They got me killed my baby. I'm not going to stop this fight.
I told my family that I was going to end my life.
I gotta look at my son and tell him, honey, I'm gonna be okay. But in my heart, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. I don't know if I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna be in a wheelchair the rest of my life.
It broke my son to hear that his mom wanted to die because she had gotten a COVID vaccine.
These are human stories. These aren't people with political agendas. If I was an anti-vaxxer, I wouldn't have been standing in the freaking line to get the shot.
Let's want my daughter back.
So this story has everything to be interesting, right? You've got scandal.
FEMA had offered me money if I changed my son's death certificate from enlarged heart to COVID.
You've got secrets.
The FDA wanted 75 years to release this data.
And what the FDA did to me was contact Pfizer and get me fired.
We don't have any secrets here.
You've got money.
Patent for the Moderna vaccine is owned by the Department of Health and Human Services.
And power.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
At the base of this story, the very center of this story is love.
I won't sleep until this war is done.
Because without validation, without love, without acceptance, healing cannot happen.
We can't give up.
Let's get you some of your life back, okay?
And we can't give in.
I know that I'm on the other side of the country, but I promise you, you're not alone. So that's what this story is about. It's about love. I'm not going to give up. And I'm not going to give up on these people.
And I'm not either. That's a tough one to see again. A little reminder, since we've gotten so far away from reality through all this theater that we're watching and ignoring the elephant in the room. Like I said, Operation Warp Speed was a public-private partnership between the U.S. government and the companies that sped up the development, manufacturing, and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines and treatments. How it worked: the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, and the Department of Defense partnered to develop the vaccines. Being a veteran, I had to succumb to a lot of different vaccines. They were told us we couldn't hit port and then other countries until we got all these extra shots. One of them was anthrax and a few other things. But they experiment on us, and then they turn around and they give it to you. OWS has selected vaccine candidates that use different methods to trigger an immune response. Vaccine companies began large-scale manufacturing during clinical trials. So they're already manufacturing it during the clinical trials. They also combined and ran clinical trial phases concurrently, which I think the animals that they were testing it on passed away. So this is who's not being invited to the State of the Eggs address. The human trafficking survivors not invited to the State of the Eggs address. Instead, we talked about the military industrial complex and how much more money they need and how much record and recruitment that you're getting. And it even says
building a bit bigger military,
putting a dome over us, because if we're going to peace, guys, we need a dome, right?
Right.
Save us from missile attacks. Does that make any freaking sense? Why do we need a dome if you're talking peace out of one side of your mouth and then you're sending bombs to the people on the Epstein list, or that blackmailed our politicians in Congress? And he talked about draining the swamp. Well, he was talking to the swamp, right? The swamp is right there. You've seen the Diddy Epstein list in front of your face last night, right? So draining the swamp. Here we are 9 years later. We're still talking draining the swamp, and the swamp's still sitting in the Congress. And not only that, but this new administration selected the swamp as it's part of its administration to protect the swamp.
Yeah, and everybody that wants the Republic, Trump to be part of the Republic, doesn't realize that J.D. Vance is sitting in that seat that would be considered the president at the State of the Eggs address.
And he said democracy several times yesterday, last night. Mm-hmm.
And he said, my fellow citizens.
Yep.
Which is slaves. They said this vaccine was totally safe and effective. They told us they blamed everything on the China. But in reality, it was a psyop. It was just the flu season, just like any other time. 400,000 deaths matches the flu season, and they ran a psyop and put fear porn and put fear into people to run out and get a vaccine they didn't need. Same thing they're doing here in Houston with this
measles.
With the measles thing right now, what they're shooting for is the kids, the parents that are, or the anti-vaxxer types, the ones that don't want to, put their kids in, play Russian roulette with their children. They're coming after you, and I'll prove it. Houston officials announced measles plan as RFK Jr. sends vitamin A to Texas because apparently we don't have vitamin A here. Doesn't make whatever. Harris County officials outlined a plan to boost vaccine rates. Again, Harris County officials outlined a plan to boost vaccination rates for measles and trace any potential cases in Houston. As Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, the federal government plans to combat the outbreak by shipping doses of vitamin A to Gaines County. County officials announced on Tuesday that they are testing for measles by monitoring 36 wastewater treatment facilities and 48 manholes. They did the same thing during COVID. They were sticking.
Yeah, it sure did.
They were sticking cups in the sewer drains in the middle of the street, pulling up samples to test. They also plan to start monitoring schools with low vaccination rates. Right there, they're going to monitor the schools with low vaccination rates. What does that mean? They're going to find out who's not getting their kids vaccinated. You're going to have to get your kids out of these schools if you don't want to play Russian roulette with your kids. If you don't know what it's like to have a kid that's vaccine injured, you need to go, talk to some people that have some kids that are vaccine injured and see what they have to go through every day for the rest of their lives. I take it seriously when you come after the people, and especially when you come after the children. And I don't give a shit about your political affiliation, Democrat, Republican, Trump, Biden, Clinton, Bush, Obama. None of that shit matters to me. Health officials also noted additional vaccination efforts and encouraged residents to get vaccinated if they have not already. So they're still pushing this bullshit. It is not normal to have an outbreak like that. Well, no shit. And they even tell you it's not normal to have an outbreak because you're pushing it. According to reports, the measles, what triggered this was one of the kids had measles or whatever, but it was something else. It wasn't measles. So this is not something we see in the United States, and it is something we have not seen in decades. County Judge Lena Hidalgo said at a news conference on Tuesday afternoon. Our County Judge Lena Hidalgo is the one that pushed these vaccines in Houston. She's a plant. There are currently no cases in Houston, officials said. Oh, hold on, you heard that? So how's there a measles outbreak if he just says right here there's currently no cases in Houston?
Wow.
Officials said. So what are we doing? Oh, we're going after the kids that aren't vaccinated. Right, because they're going to monitor. But the Health and Human Services Secretary said Tuesday in an interview with Fox News that the federal government was shipping doses of vitamin A to Gaines County, the epicenter of the outbreak. What outbreak? It says right here there's currently no cases. And helping to arrange ambulance rides. Kennedy said doctors in Texas had seen very, very good results by treating measles cases with a steroid. Budesonide, an antibiotic called clarithromycin, and cod liver oil, which he said had high levels of vitamin A and vitamin D. However, health experts have said that while vitamin A is sometimes used in low-income countries where malnutrition is a factor, it is ineffective in the U.S. and dangerous narratives to spread. There have now been 159 measles cases in Texas. I thought they just said there was none.
Right.
There are currently no cases. And
that's what my mom gave my sisters when they had measles was cod liver oil. That's funny they said that.
So there's no cases.
Yeah, clarithromycin is the same generic version of the erythromycin that they normally give. The shit don't work.
So we go from there's no cases to now there's 159 measles cases in Texas since the outbreak began in January. Excuse me. The Texas Department of State Health Services announced Tuesday over a dozen cases have spurted in less than a week. Since the health department last update Friday, health officials have said that the outbreak could last over 2 months. How do they know? Is that the plan? It's going to last 2 months? But again, it says right here, there are currently no cases in Houston. Maybe there's some in other counties. I don't know. But the point is they're really gunning for the unvaccinated children, the people that are protected children. They're coming after you. Like I've been telling you for the last few years, coming after your kids. All right. Let me try to. Oh, there we go. So he said he wanted to drain the swamp as he talked to the swamp. What you've seen was a psyop to make it seem like there's division within the ranks. You've seen the Democrats just sitting there not clapping or anything like that. That's their right. The Republicans, the only reason they stood up and clapped is because they're Republicans and there's a Republican president. If it was a Democrat president, you would have seen the Republicans sitting there on their hands, not clapping, and you would have seen the Democrats standing up and cheering. But in reality, they're all getting money. They're all taking money from all the same donors. They all have the same donors. They all go to dinner together. Their kids go to the same schools. They all have a great time. But then when they get onto these State of the Eggs addresses, they try to play like they're divided, so that the people locally stay with this bullshit. It's the Democrats. It's the Democrats. It's the Democrats. It's the Democrats. And then you hear the Democrats. It's the Republicans. It's the Republicans. No, it's both you motherfuckers. Right? So let's get real. Stop the division. You're never going to come together, and they're going to continue to run game on you. So where is that at? Oh, I want to go to the citizenship thing. I'm going to talk about that real quick. One guy has a good idea. If a citizenship can be sold for $5 million, then allow people to sell their citizenship for $5 million. Right? Which I don't know who would want to come here, who would want to spend $5 million to come here. I really don't. I have to refresh this real quick. Give me 1 second, okay? This lady says Pauly St. George, aka Amazing Pauly, on X. Oh snap! He's got a good argument here. This is a brilliant idea. Millions of Americans would love to sell out. That's what she said. We're familiar with this guy right here. Played a few of his videos. We're going to play this one.
$2.
Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can make this just a little bigger. All right, here we go.
Trump's so-called gold card program, visa program.
Trump gold card.
You've heard about this? He's offering residency and a path to citizenship for $5 million. This is not an immigration policy, it's a fire sale. Citizenship is just another product on the shelf. I mean, why not tweak that program? Allow Americans to sell their citizenship for $5 million. Now that makes sense. Let struggling Americans get paid and move out of that country with their newfound millions. That's a program I could get behind. Imagine if, for instance, just say 10% of African Americans could sell their citizenship for $5 million each. That's roughly 5 million new millionaires, $25 trillion between them. You can get a Dominican citizenship for an investment of just $100,000. You could make the Dominican Republic $25 trillion richer overnight. You know, I'm just saying African Americans because they have the most obvious reasons for being interested in selling their citizenship since they don't get much out of it in the first place. But if you offered a program like that in reality, well, I think that you'd see that country empty out. I mean, ask yourself, if you're an American, what would you rather have? American citizenship or $5 million? $5 million and the opportunity to get citizenship elsewhere and have all the safety and all the security that comes with being that rich. Retaining your citizenship is never going to secure for you that kind of wealth. It's never going to secure that kind of wealth for you. It's never going to give you that kind of freedom, and it's never going to give you that kind of security. And I think you know it. I think you ought to demand the right to sell your citizenship, since he's already treating it like a product, like an asset that can be bought and sold. So why can't the people who already possess that asset, who already have that product, why can't they sell it? Isn't that capitalism? Isn't that the free market? Forget about selling it. If American citizenship is worth $5 million, well, shouldn't we be entitled to a refund? I mean, I don't know about you, but I sure never got $5 million worth of value from my citizenship. Did you? Well, I think the government ought to buy it back, just like corporations, you know, with their share buybacks and so on. You can have it. Give me that $5 million and we'll be on our way. Who wouldn't go for that deal? Well, you see that whole country depopulated within days.
小红书
That's
Yeah.
true.
You can have the poverty that you try to keep us in. You know, 50%, 70% of the population living paycheck to paycheck, and you didn't even talk about it one time. But I heard millions and billions talked about last night, but it wasn't millions and billions coming to the people. Trillions. All right.
Right.
So,
Yeah, frankly, I'm tired of it, and we can say enough is enough. No, we got to start telling them every single day, as often as we can, and every social media platform we can get our hands on.
Yep.
Okay, you know, I don't give a damn who it is. Okay, if they put Jesus on stage and start saying that shit, I'm gonna slap the spit out of his mouth too. I really don't give a shit. I am tired of it. Good people are being put out on the street. Children are still being trafficked. There's a case going on in Texas where we found somebody posing as a judge that actually took the kids through that impostership, posing as a judge and wasn't really the judge. Wasn't even a judge.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah, I mean this is I need to stay calm because we have some work to do, but folks, we need to tell them every single day that we know, and we don't want to hear the shit no more. If another dollar gets spent before the people in North Carolina and the people in Texas and the people in Florida and the people in Georgia and all the devastation throughout the country gets rectified and another piece of land gets grabbed, then all of them can go to hell. They are all going to burn in hell. And that ain't passing judgment. They already deemed crimes against humanity, the penalty is death.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So no matter who you vote for, the debt keeps rising and the bombs keep dropping. What you don't hear is how many bombs that the Trump administration has dropped. It's all on the Pentagon website, Air Force. I'll share it out. It has each month and how many bombs. And according to the records, Trump has dropped more than Obama. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's not my opinion.
Yeah.
You don't hear about that, but that's what's taking place. So, another thing, you're not getting the Seth Rich records either, guys.
We're not getting any records, at least not
From the most transparent.
Not from the government. It's not going to come from. We've had most of all that stuff. We've had bits and pieces of Anthony Weiner's laptop. We've had Biden's stuff, right? We've had all this stuff. They have yet to drop it to the American people, though, on a wide scale. And then they won't. I don't think they're ever going to.
To the masses.
That's party be over then.
Yeah.
They don't want the party over.
That's why it's up to us, the people, to get it out. But
yeah, the Department of Justice has announced that Seth Rich records, which was set for release on March 10th, will not be made public. And this is from the most transparent, most successful presidency in American history.
Because they told you, right?
Told you that.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over and over and over and over and over and over until it becomes what? True.
And regurgitated by everyone else too. Yep.
Shout out to DC Drano.
Yeah, on the who?
DC Drano. Talk about this is the most transparent administration.
Right.
Yeah. I got it.
That was like yeah.
It took me a second, but I got it. I had a shiny object.
Mike was like, what?
Here's a picture of Pam Bondi at last night's State of the Art address. Same bullshit, different day, guys.
Mrs. Barr. Will the real Mrs. Barr please stand up?
That's Pam Bardi.
Pam Bardi. Bardi.
So what will it take for anything to happen? Epstein list released, all pedos jailed. J6 prisoners all free. Most of them are free, right? JFK, RFK, MLK files released. Embezzled Ukraine funds tracked and returned. Insider trading stopped. Violators imprisoned. Big Pharma destroyed and sued to oblivion. U.S. aid money into politicians' pockets found and returned. Federal Reserve destroyed. He didn't talk about the Federal Reserve, did he? Child trafficking stopped. He didn't talk about child trafficking last night. The most successful administration in American history in its first 30 days. Lawfare against Americans ended. Jail the abusers. IRS shut down and targeting addressed. 100% of all tax revenue ever paid returned. Wouldn't y'all want that? Drug running aid from our politicians. Jail them. Unnecessary wars stopped. But that's not taking place. We're sending bombs to Israel. Politicians with 200K salaries worth many millions. Mainstream media blowed apart. Sue them all into financial ruin. The Vindman brothers arrested. Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, Adam Kissinger jailed. Stock market manipulation stopped. Ken Griffin jailed. They got a lot to do. As they're pushing the New World Order agenda.
And they need to get busy, and they need to fire up CERN and go back and get the fake George Washington's ass and bring him forward too.
Put his ass
Right.
Oh, Illuminati guys.
Yeah, the Illuminati founder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's saying whenever he says that. When they talk about George Washington, it's an inside thing, right? Tonight's
Yeah,
address
we
to
need to get the fake Abraham Lincoln too. Yeah, we need to get the fake Abraham Lincoln too for chopping down the damn cherry tree.
That's right.
Tonight's address to Congress in a nutshell. There's your red and blue. It's a red state. Oh, it's a blue state. Guys, it's red and blue, man. It's not. There's no way in hell. My state's red, but every major city in this state is ran by Democrats. It's a blue state. They want to call it a blue state or a red state. It doesn't matter. The big where the most population, where the most people live, the cities, your Democrats run in your red states. So therefore, they get all the votes mainly in those areas. Why that's why in Texas all the cities are blue, and the outside of the cities are red. It's all the same. This is red house, blue house, Freemason. It's your law enforcement right here. Blue, back to blue. It's firefighter. That's why they have the red on the firefighter and the blue on the cop. Speaking of law enforcement, Trump said they need their respect back. They're not getting it. After COVID, the shit that they pulled, arresting people for not wearing a mask, and all the tyranny that they pulled on us, they got a lot of making up to do. They damn sure aren't constitutional at all. They can't even spell Constitution, so no respect is earned. It's not given. So just because Trump said their respect needs to be returned back, that's not going to happen. Until something changes drastically. Trump said he restored free speech unless you talk about Israel. Then you're going to jail. He threatened the college students that if they protest, which is constitutionally protected.
What do you say? Anti-Semitic, right? Anti-Semitic is what it says. You can't say anti-Semitic. What did Hitler say? Can't say anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic means you're against. Is what anti-Semitic means. There's the trick of words.
Trump said, I gotta write this down. I just got a thought in my head. We have restored free speech and stopped all foreign aid. Did he not just approve a bill for $4 billion plus for bombs to Israel? And he told Zelensky something about the peace deal, trying to make a peace deal, but yet he's in the back door, he's sending weapons over through little Marco Rubio, which is totally an anti-Trumper, called Trump a con man. Y'all remember that? Marco Rubio?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yep. Well, that was a lie. You didn't stop all foreign aid.
Theater. It was just all theater.
Another thing he said, he wants to lower grocery prices, but then out the other side of his mouth, he's going to increase tariffs, which increases our grocery prices. Who pays for that? We do. So how's he going to lower the gas price? I mean, the grocery prices, and then turn around and add tariffs to the products coming in from foreign countries, 25+%. Who pays for that? We do. Not him. He's a billionaire. It's funny watching billionaires talk about egg prices like they go shopping for eggs.
Right.
Like $8 or $20. If the eggs went up to $100 a carton, they wouldn't even blink, dude. They would still be able to afford it to have an egg with bacon for breakfast while you scrounge or maybe go get some chickens and stuff and raise your own eggs, or just stop eating eggs, period. But it's crazy that we focus on eggs just like in 2025, just like in 2021 and 2020, where toilet paper was the thing, right? So we went from toilet paper to eggs. And when you listen to most of the interviews at the rallies, that's all they were worried about: eggs and gas prices. That's it. And the border. That was it. Nobody said anything. And I watched those interviews because I want to see where the mindset of the people are. And all I've seen was repeating talking points over and over. Every now and then you get somebody that had their own opinion, but for the most part, they were just there for the show, just so they could see Trump. All right. Yeah, so there's a lot of similarity. The left is calling Trump Hitler because there's a lot of similarities in what Hitler did and what Trump did. There's a lot of similarities. Hitler did 30 rallies. Hitler did a lot of rallies. He did 30 rallies in 1 week, and he flew there each rally from plane to plane on an airplane. And then he would walk in about 30 minutes to an hour late for that rally every time because it
built up momentum.
In the audience and in anticipation of waiting for their Messiah to walk out, right? And so that's why the left calls it Hitler, because of they didn't forget their history. Apparently, in the colleges they were teaching the real history.
A lot of similarities, a lot. Yeah, so you can see where they're getting that idea from, because if you go back and watch the series, I posted a few of them, but you'll see it's almost, it's crazy.
See this shit right here? The Democrats wouldn't even stand up and cheer for a little black boy who survived brain cancer. Wow, I'd be so fucking embarrassed to be a Democrat right now. See the Democrat Republican bullshit? I'd be so embarrassed to be either one of you people right now, honestly.
Right.
Democrat or Republican, especially after the shit we just went through the last 4 years. So psychologically, what they're doing, this is what I wrote last night during the speech, what came over me. I said, man, they're trying to act like they're divided on national TV because they know that State of the Eggs address went to all the local markets. Like the people that normally don't get to watch Trump or all the rallies and shit, they got to watch last night's speech. So they took advantage of that, which they always do. So psychologically, what they're doing there in the speech is making it seem to the public as if they are divided. They are not divided. I just showed you they all get paychecks. They all get big bank from BlackRock, etc., Israel, foreign countries. They're doing this to keep us up the illusion, to keep us divided so that we never come together on the real issues. They all take money from the same corporations and countries because that's who they serve. The solution is to stop the left versus right, locally and online. You got to come together on the important issues, the issues that really matter, and not fucking egg prices. We can start with our children. It's their future, and their children's future is at stake. So put aside your differences for them. They say the children will unite humanity. It's all we got left is our children. So when you blame this guy for egg prices, and he's an actor, that tells me you're either got your head up your ass or you're an actor. So which one is it, guys? Is Trump an actor or is he just blind? What is it? He's got to be an actor. He's got to know this guy isn't real. This is the real one, and he's an actor. This is an actor playing the actor that played Joe Biden. It's CIA asset.
It's been that way since ancient Rome, right? It's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun.
So let's blame the actor for the egg prices. I mean, come on, man. And everything else that you don't want to take. So you didn't see Trump bragging about, he brags about everything. He brags and boasts, which is a characteristic of the Antichrist. Right? He's hitting all the boxes. Bragging and boasting.
Not saying he is, but you got to pay attention to what's being shown to you, because that's what you're supposed to be catching. You're supposed to be picking up on these things.
Even us gearheads are getting pissed because now look what they've done to the General Lee.
Oh my God. What the heck?
They turned the General Lee into the Dollar General.
Hey. That's funny.
It is. And the worst part is that was my first car, not this one in the picture, but the Gremlin was my first car.
Yeah, it's crazy how they could pull this off, man, and people still. I mean, it's really insane how in a trance people are, because I believe that they don't really know these people, or never paid attention to politics or something, or maybe don't even look at anything. But it's so easy to replace somebody.
Right. Yeah.
It's so easy to replace somebody in your face, and the people won't even notice because they don't pay attention. They're too busy trying to survive, right? We're all trying to survive, try to make it. We ain't got time to be looking at all this. We don't know that they're running the military is running psychological operations on us. We're waiting on the military to come save us.
Right.
Right. So here you got Laura Loomer on the left, the new Laura Loomer on the right. Oh, is it? How's it not showing you then?
I don't know. It's just blank.
Is it
I
blank?
don't even see our circles with our faces. I mean, our little logos.
I don't either. I don't either.
Yeah, we're getting in some good topics. We're getting in. That means we're hitting the right marks. That's what that means.
This is crazy.
They blinked us out. They got that Sharpie out. They're trying to erase us.
Got that online Sharpie. Full check, you know, the one that Trump signs all the.
Damn, it's blank everywhere, not just for us. It's blank everywhere. This is crazy.
It is.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm hitting the right spots. That's what that means. My opinion.
Right.
So, are we still blank?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see what we got.
It's
here.
all blank. It's just the background. That's it. Not even our logos. Yeah. Weird, huh?
Yeah, I'd stop share screen too if I was you. We're spanking that ass tonight. Spank that ass. This is how you do it. You don't stay silent and accept the bullshit. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. All right, here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we're back.
All right, cool. Let me go back down here.
It has something to do with StreamYard doing a demo beta test on scene 1 and scene 2.
Right.
Here's scene 2.
Right?
Wakey, wakey. So we got Laura Loomer, the original on the left, the one you see right now on the right. Isaac Cappy named her. Same thing with Jack Posobiec. They're all agents. Laura Trump replaced. Kimberly Guilfoyle replaced. Kristi Noem, Miss Ice Queen replaced. Running around with photo ops and police uniforms and shit.
Costumes. Those are all costumes. Yeah,
yes,
she was a welder, cop. She's she's everything.
All right, Kimberly Guilfoyle. Look at that. Who is she dating? Kimberly Guilfoyle, Don Jr. and who else? Don
Jr. Yeah. Well, she was married to Gavin Newsom.
I mean, who would want to date?
If you look at that picture on the left, the older picture of her, and if you look at the older picture of Gavin Newsom, he don't look the same either.
Well, speaking of Gavin Newsom, Charlie Kirk just had a great conversation with Gavin Newsom. And he says right here, it says Charlie Kirk. This is from his X account. This was yesterday. We had quite the chat. Says the guy that went to a college campus in a diaper to troll college students, young kids going to school. He went there to troll Democrats and liberals in a freaking diaper. No shirt on, nothing. With a binky.
Right. Oh my God.
It was not a good look. Go look it up. That was in 2018. Sellout. Look at him. I mean, what's going on here, guys? Are y'all uniting now? Are y'all trying to unite? I mean, all right. So Trump renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, but he forgot to rename D.C. The District of Criminals. Would be a good start.
The District of Criminals.
Just like Brian said on the High Impact Flicks, he calls it the District of Criminals. Many people still struggle to grasp this, but here it goes. The government, the system, is a criminal enterprise. Both Republicans and Democrats serve that same system. And right here it says Trump, Elon, RFK Jr., Kash Patel, and the rest all serve the system. No one who serves the system will ever dismantle it. No one who serves the system is a threat to it. That's just the narrative that they sell you to keep you believing in the system. The illusion of opposition is the system's greatest weapon. I repeat, the illusion of opposition is what you've seen last night with Democrats sitting on their hands, right? And Republicans have to clap because they're Republicans in the room. That's the only reason they all stood up and clapped the whole damn thing, right? No matter if Trump could have said some crazy shit and they would have stood up and clapped. Because it's good for re-election. And when you're making millions of dollars holding those seats, you don't want to let go of it. Right? And then you're already compromised, so they got to find someone else that's compromised to replace you. This is my buddy here talking about his wife's an NPC.
Yeah, that was
fun. That was a good one. We had a Michigan church worship leader and a youth pastor, and he was a CPAC performer, Zachary Radcliffe, who was arrested on 33 child sex crimes and now faces 60 more child sex crime charges and has been denied bond. Here he is with Don. You probably can't see it, but here he is with Don Jr. and the guy of Liberty College and Gofo, the actresses and actors, performing at CPAC. This is a pedophile sitting right here with a guitar. Youth church pastor, allegedly with 60 counts of child sex, got an invite to CPAC. How the hell does that happen?
In the club, I guess.
It's one big club. You ain't in it. As much as you want to like them, you have to remember that these people are actors, acting as the president, acting as the senators, acting as the vice president, just like the judges. They're all actors too, acting as the judge. They're not legitimate. They're illegitimate de facto. They're just pretending when they read their script from the teleprompter. Don't get sucked into the soap opera. What was he reading from the teleprompter last night? Right? Word for word. How did he know in his speech that the Democrats were going to be sitting down in his speech, and he wrote it in his speech? That's all I want to know, because he read it off the teleprompter. As you can see here, the Democrats aren't clapping and they're sitting down. Right, and then you had the master. Yeah, yep. And you had that. Then you had that WWE type thing where they kicked out Al Green. From.
Oh yeah, he took his little cane.
And all he did was stand up. So you can't steal a rigged election, right? You can't drain the swamp when you're the one restocking it with bigger, fatter creatures. You can't absolve yourself from responsibility from the kosher 19 shot when you funded it, rushed it, marketed it, and still refused to condemn it. You can't claim to be downsizing the government when all you're really doing is swapping out bureaucratic stooges for Palantir's AI-driven predictive policy surveillance state. You can't fight the deep state when every advisor, cabinet member, and donor in your circle is a Zionist, a banker, or intelligence asset. You can't pretend to be for the people while cutting trillion-dollar checks to Big Pharma, green-lighting lockdowns, and pumping endless cash into mRNA, which is what we just seen with COVID. That's not fighting for freedom. That's selling the people out, one injection at a time. You can't say you're bringing back manufacturing back when you're simultaneously rolling out the fourth industrial revolution to automate and replace the entire workforce. You can't break up the globalist system when you're accelerating its AI control grid, CBDCs, and biometric surveillance, which we've seen the AI stuff with Larry Ellison. The first thing that Trump did was bring those three guys out to push this AI with the mRNA in it, even though they just witnessed and seen what just took place during COVID, right? You can't claim to be a free speech warrior when your biggest legislative move was pushing anti-Semitic laws, criminalizing criminals, criticism of Israel. You can't say you're against the establishment when you keep hiring it, funding it, and expanding its powers. And everybody that voted for this is just as guilty as the bastards who built it. You cheered it on, you excused it, you justified every betrayal with mental gymnastics worthy of an Olympic gold medal. Now look at the mess we're in. Your savior didn't drain the swamp. He stocked it. He didn't fight the beast. He's building its infrastructure. And you didn't resist. You consented. Kind of how the libs just bow down to authority. Right? Harsh words, but you got to hear it. You got to stand with the people and stop standing with your favorite movie characters and politicians that have never done anything for you.
Right. And that's why we're in this mess still. Got to unite with the people and do something, Unity. Yeah.
Unity. Everybody looking for a leader. The leader is found in unity. Okay. Not one over another. That'll never work again. Having somebody over somebody else will never work again. We've had enough of that. But unity in the collective mind and heart of every love and light filled spirit is the leader that we're all looking for. And we're starting to gather in great numbers, just like we're doing here at Truth Seekers. Y'all, we're a lot of y'all know this stuff, right? And there are some that don't or don't want to know it like we know it. That it doesn't mean it has to be their truth. What it does mean is to know that, just like Sheepdog said a while ago, we set our differences aside and we come together for the children. Period, point blank. That's all there is to it. Okay? Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Okay? Go ahead, Sheepdog.
Yeah, because I'm not leaving this shit show behind for my kids to have to fight and claw their way through. And I didn't do anything about it. And I just sell off into the sunset and leave them here with the what? Enslavement?
Another subject which is very relevant today.
What's that, Mike?
Go ahead, Sheepdog.
Another subject which is interesting and very relevant today is a symbol called the fasci, or the fasces. On the back of an American dime, you will see a bundle of sticks tied together, and it has an axe head with it. And this is an ancient Etruscan symbol that was adopted by the Roman Empire to symbolize Rome's power. It's an old ancient Etruscan symbol, very important to the Roman Empire. Rome said, ancient Rome's philosophy was, if there's just one stick, you can beat somebody with a stick, but it's not going to hurt them. But if you got 2 or 3 sticks, now it's going to be a little bit heavier deal. But if you get 5 or 6 sticks and tie them together as one, now you've got serious strength. Now when you beat somebody with 6 or 8 sticks tied together, that's serious. And so then they put a hatchet head on it because an axe head always represented in almost all the ancient cultures of the world accepted that the axe head represented the presence of God. God was the great hatchet. He's giving you the axe. And so the hatchet head represented God, and the bundle of sticks represented a coalition of troops. So when Rome would go into to another country to overtake it, they would take troops from this group and troops from that group and put them all together. Now you've got a strong force, not just Roman. And so that's what we hear today, when we hear the presidents talking about during the Middle East. They have a coalition of countries, not just America.
It's been this way since ancient Rome.
That's right. And they saw it there.
It's the greatest show on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, the U.S. drops an average of 46 bombs a day. Also went on the government websites right here, the dot mills, and I'll share this out so you can look at the bombs that Trump dropped. You can look at the bombs that Biden dropped. You can look at the bombs that Obama dropped. It didn't stop. Okay.
Right. We just didn't hear about it.
Well, they're not going to tell you that.
Silver crown of Jerusalem. This is to be given to the Messiah. The silver crown of the Torah.
All right, here we go. It's going to offend some people.
Got that? That's the silver crown of Jerusalem. This is to be given to the Messiah and the Messiah only. And 163 Orthodox Jewish rabbis gave Donald Trump the silver crown of the Torah. I worked 4 years on Trump's campaign team. These guys are, this is the inscription, which can't read, but you can read it here. They're calling him the Prince of Peace. This is an utterance out of the prophet Isaiah. Donald Trump is considered the Mashiach of Israel, the Messiah, according to these rabbis who run your country. The whole COVID agenda was done by Zionist Jews, and they want all you people dead here in the land of Edom. They consider Donald Trump the head of Edom. They're going to kill you people off with this injection. You're considered Amalek, and they want all you people dead. My Instagram is Trump_played_you. Trump played you. My son's dying from this shot that Donald Trump brought out through a military operation, Warp Speed, March 27, 2020, approved by the DOD. Warn your fellow Americans. This whole thing, by this COVID agenda, is all dual citizenship Zionist Jews. I used to be a hardcore Zionist. They want all you people dead, and Trump is their Messiah. Make no mistake of it. He will return. Can I sit back in your seat? All right.
There you go. Genocide.
The silver crown of the Torah. Got that?
That wasn't too much for you, was it? You can handle that?
He was given the crown, the Torah. Yep.
It's
Sure
all
was.
fact. The second coming, right? Of Trump. Here's Christian Pastor. Israel and the Jews are better than all of us, and you need to accept that. This is what they want you to believe. The chosen ones, right? I am the chosen one.
They're better than all of us. And you need to all of us. Israel, their people, the Jews, are better than all of us. They're better than all of us. And you need to accept that. This is where, with the kids, where we start our indoctrination. I know that's a strong word to use, indoctrination, that it
it's perfect.
gets such a bad reputation. But that's where it starts. That's where it started with me. Israel, their people, the Jews, are better than all of us. They're better than all of us. And you need to accept that. The Jews are better than all of us. They're better than all of us. The Jews are better than all of us. They're better than all of us. And you need to accept that.
Crazy, right? You go talking to a
Their
wall.
people, the Jews.
Didn't your mama say that? I feel like I'm talking to a wall. Right? And there they are talking to a wall. You know, teach their own. You know, if that's your religion, whatever. Keep that shit over there. I'll bring it here. And run our government, get in the pockets of all the politicians and presidents and own the damn everything that's around. This is the reality. This is from Bill Ben on X. Only once you accept the truth can you begin to stand up and fight back.
The number one organization for bringing refugees into America, the number one organization who finances refugee immigration in America, I said it before and I'll say it again, anybody can look this up, is HIAS, H-I-A-S.
HIAS is the NGO at the border that's trafficking children. Of course, you knew that because I told you about it. Showed you, but showed you as well. But you're still not getting it.
But you can look this up. Is HIAS, H-I-A-S, the Hebrew Immigration Aid Society. People need to wake up to reality, and unfortunately, people are too scared to wake up to reality because of what happens to them. And whenever people live a lie, you must suffer the consequences because you refuse to adhere to them.
Everything, we rule everything, brother, you need to understand. We eventually will rule the world. 10 years from now, it's not France. It's Francistan. It's not Netherlands. It's Netherlandistan. Belgistan. Wait, brother.
You did that.
Of course, you deserve that. I swear I'm happy it happened to the Europeans. Yeah. The European is the most shit persons in the life I lived in Belgium for. Yeah. I know who is the Europeans. Europeans can suck my dick, brother. You're worth nothing. What is this? Every single aspect, mass... No, other aspect of mass is Jewish. Brother, I tell you, we run the fucking world. You don't understand what I'm telling you? We rule the world. Rothschild, people like this. You don't understand. It's behind the scenes even, with all this Illuminati shit. Bro, you don't know what's going on. You guys will never understand because you're not Jewish. You're not allowed to know those things. But we know what's happening behind the world, brother.
I know.
Everything good, but you don't deserve to know it. You understand? Because you're going. I will rape the children over there. I will rape children in front of a mother.
He's calling us Goem.
Goyim, yeah.
He's calling us Goyim.
And then I will shoot the child in the head and the mother also. And we're bomb.
Did you do that in the army too?
Yes, you see this? This is, I swear, from the army.
Well, Christians, we don't have that. We try to make peace.
Wow, we're going to see the peace in 10 years in Europe. We will see what peace you have.
Remember Netanyahu didn't want to go to peace talks either. Remember Trump was trying to have sign a peace deal and he didn't want to do it. He's against it. That's why. Because they were promised you as slaves. And that's who's getting the money for your birth certificates.
Right. Remember, Netanyahu is not even, he's Polish. So he's not even a Jew. So it's not the people, but the government. And I'm sure there's some, just like anywhere, there's some radicals, just that's everywhere. But the majority of them, they're not they don't even like him. So.
All right, let's see what else. I'll share all these links out. I'll also put them in the description on Rumble and YouTube. This is what it would look like if the Native Americans wore like a Washington, like the Washington Redskins. This is what it would look like if there was the Washington Rednecks and the natives wore it.
Stupid.
Oh, we got to do this one. What's her name? We got to do this. DARPA.
Now they have a way to get it. Trump is showing the world that he's a shitcoiner. He knows that he has to replace all this USAID money with something else. Guys that are in and around Trump, specifically Bessent, Wadnick, Elon, Peter Thiel, these are the guys that are all being used to actually change the Rockefeller, Rothschild empire into a technocratic control. Remember, you don't need to control money when you can control people.
Boom.
Yep.
I have the whole clip for this, the hour and 30 minutes. I'll share it out.
That's right. Humans want nothing to do with the actual control systems they claim they're awakening from. They don't want to know. They would rather have fantasies, endless fairy tales. They want to talk about airplanes. They do not want to talk about the human body being tethered to that cloud. Nope. Nope. Anything but that. You can talk about sex, you can talk about video games, you can talk about anything except what is actually happening in business and market share with the medical community. Period. And of course, you're not allowed to talk about the current warfare doctrines, plural. Same problem. I don't want to know about any of that. I'm not interested in that. We want to hear stories. We're much more interested in ghost stories than talking about the real 5 and 6G. We're not interested in that. We're not interested in what is really going on in the White House regarding the W-band blockchain. We're not interested in that. We don't care about that. That's not important. We need to find out how that MH370 is doing what it does. I said 5G and even 6G technology in the United States as soon as possible. No, Donald Trump is going to save us. From what? The fallen technology, at least that's what you call it. You claim that no human is smart enough to write code or weaponize radar. It all came from demons and aliens. Interesting. Same people, well, I don't believe in the 6G and it can't get me and it's theoretical and it's not here yet. That's amazing. You're wrong again. And anybody that listened to you, they're in the weeds permanently. They have no idea the business has already been done. They don't understand how business is run. Donald Trump is a businessman. You think he's some sort of religious whack job. No. I warned you. And I've done further research, and I'm completely right. And I saw things when I was younger that match up, too. This is business. And as long as you're busy talking about religion and aliens, you're not going to understand the systems that have already been deployed around you, let alone what they've got en route. I told you, read right to the brain, and I saw this when I was young. You told me to shut up and quit being angry about being an unwitting medical test subject, even in utero. And I knew then this ain't going to end well. Steve Quayle wrote about the graphene in the 70s with his police chaplain friend Russ Dizdar. You said nothing. You lied about biosensors for 3 years, and then you claimed that, and you still do, that they don't exist, but they're 40 plus years of deployment. Again, lying about our warfare doctrine, and most recently lying about the electro fog, apparently, because we use antifreeze with the snow, but whatever. Don't even want to get into it, because nobody could look up geoengineering over here on the right with the Encyclopedia Britannica, and they damn sure, because that's the only place they heard about, knew nothing about those of us unwitting medical test subject survivors. Synthetic biology has been around since 2003 with all the nanobots and the biomimetics, but nobody knows any of that, nor do they know how it works, apparently. But every time we turn around, you can't throw a rock without finding yet another college student involved with 20 years of our tax dollars for tethering us to the cloud. And they keep calling it theoretical. Every interview I hear, even here, with your endless prattling with people that they still don't understand that nanotechnology has been around as long as it has, and they have no idea what the Internet of Space things actually is, and that it's all pointing down. They think it's GMOs when we're using smart agriculture. Then they claim that they're so compartmentalized, they're super smart, they can work in all these industries, but they're so compartmentalized, they have no damn idea what the impact of what they're doing is on other industries. Yet every one of their required symposiums and conferences are multidisciplinary and multimodal. They tell you they're on the moon, even on the front of the drudge. We have a cute little picture of the moon, but everything that we find is pointing down, down, down all these years. And it's a nanosecond at a time to get to the moon and Mars, which is just ridiculous on its face. And on and on and on we go, in which religions are weaponized as our race, ethnicity, and all the things that go with who you sleep with and how you do it. And while everyone was arguing over that, they were busy deploying their fiber systems, satellites, better routing protocols, hooking bodies harder to the cloud. And we still can't get anybody to even admit that that's going on from any sort of formal organization. And I warned you all, I said, there's a reason for this. So we've got all these astronauts trapped in space, but allegedly we just saw the sunrise on the moon with some private little land. And for me, I'm like, okay, you guys, if you're going to keep doing this, how long? I fixed my mouse. The ITU was founded in 1865. We had the wireless in 1895 and 1906. Then it all disappeared. Now it shows back up in 1969 when allegedly you went to the moon. Then, here we are. Here's a picture of the sunrise, but it's delay tolerant networking. You could spoof anything you wanted to. We can never get a solid data link to the same surface of the moon. Okay. And so,
they just landed another thing on the moon again, guys. And then now the next thing, Trump said he wants to put a flag on Mars. Can't do it.
I tried everything that I knew how. I thought by now people would want to talk about this. Nope. Here we are in Popular Mechanics. February 26, 2025. You're going to achieve your singularity by 2026, like my little calendar from middle school when you sent everything over to China, and now Apple's coming on back right on time. Excuse me for the delayed singularity. And I showed DNA steganography, and that's $70 million in 2023 for the DNA data storage market. And people said, no, that's only synthetic DNA. I said, that's not how it works. I mean, that's one way that it works, but that's not the only way that it works. And here we are at the NIH in 2017, when with a molecular recorder would reveal secrets of brain development and all this. That's 2017. And electronic blood vessels to the rescue for biomedical engineers in 2020. Nope. Nope, shut up, Sabrina. We're going to use the citizens themselves as sensors in the cognitive cities. No, Sabrina, no. No, I don't know what ICT is. I don't need to know. That's my Liberty City. And I'm like, I really need to fix my mouse. And I said, you know, if you don't tell people that this is business and industry for the fourth industrial revolution and that writing letters to the IEEE is a fool's errand because you're not a stakeholder of the value chain, you don't pay their bills. You really need to let people know they're tethered to the cloud. Nope. No, we don't. All we need to do is continue going to work. And that way, everybody's going to want their bioelectronics, the ones that they can put on their little hydrogels and feel better right away with electrical stimulation. Biodegradable. Hang on. It's fine. Patches, implants, wireless drugging. You know, that's a lot easier than having to run into the doctor. Okay. They're going to cure your cancer in 24 hours. Yep. And the crypto czar is outlining federal government's new approach to digital assets. And I said, are you going to tell them? About the W-band blockchain? No. Are you going to tell them they're tethered to the cloud? No. Okay. So here we go with the cryptocurrency. And then the other people who, due to my minor disagreement with the guy that apparently doesn't know about the patent that the rest of the truther community been talking about for years. Yeah, it says cryptocurrency system using body activity data. It's called energy harvesting. WBAM did a video yesterday. So what are they doing today in the White House? Gee, I wonder.
Company. All of this, this approach was driving this important technology of the future offshore, and we want to keep that innovation onshore in the U.S. Financial assets are destined to become digital, just like every analog industry has become digital. And we want that value creation to happen in the United States rather than giving it away to other countries. This will also, I should add, be much better for consumer protection because it's easier for regulators to supervise an activity when it's onshore. And it's probably not a coincidence that the single biggest fraud in the history of crypto, which was FTX, was based in the Bahamas. By moving the innovation onshore, it'll be easier to separate out the good actors from the bad actors. And we want to encourage the good actors, the innovators, while protecting the market from the bad actors. And I think a market structure legislation with clear definitions and fair rules will do that. I want to say additionally, we're excited about working with both the House and Senate on stablecoin legislation. I know Senator Hagerty introduced a bill today. This stablecoins really have the potential to ensure American dollar dominance internationally, to increase the usage of the U.S. dollar digitally as the world's reserve currency, and in the process create potentially trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. treasuries, which could lower long-term interest rates. So let me stop there, and I want to thank the chairman here today, Chairman Scott, Chairman Hill, Chairman Bozeman, Chairman Thompson. I look forward to working with them as part of the administration to help turn President Trump's policy into reality. This was a week one priority for the administration, and we're excited that our counterparts in Congress are equally committed to ensuring American dominance in digital assets. I look forward to working with each of you. And with that, I want to say work with each of you in creating a golden age in digital assets. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chairman Scott. Thank you.
All right, you see the golden age? What it's really about when they say it? It's not what you think.
Nope.
So,
guys, you know, it makes me mad too that they're trying to continue this shit. All right. That is the very reason why we have to unify and be the voice against it. That is how it's won, and we are winning. But we also have to, you know, stop letting people with their daddy Trump issues, with their daddy issues with Trump, continue the narrative because they're either asleep, pretending to be asleep, or just plain ignorant. Okay, and not in as bad people, because they're not all bad people, but ignorant to the fact that they lack the knowledge. Okay. The You want this to end. The first way to make it end is leave the theater. Okay, it'd make me nothing more happy, and I'm sure make the sheepdogs would agree, for us to be able to not come on here and have to share this shit over and over again.
Yeah.
All right, Trump knew about the trafficking way back when, and he allegedly has spilled the beans to the FBI way back when Epstein was first done in Florida. And he allegedly sits in the seat of power now that could do something about it almost instantaneously, yet he doesn't. So quit playing their game. Quit following Daddy Trump. You got daddy issues. Okay? He's a pimp daddy. He ain't nothing more. It's business. Okay? All right? And that's right. You know, he's pimping all y'all's asses out. All that believe in him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like COVID.
You know,
where he told everybody to go get the
absolutely.
vaccine. That was totally safe and effective, which is not.
Yep.
That
And
was a lie.
RFK 2 months ago said the measles vaccine was bad for you. And now today he's saying you need to go get it. I mean, people are ignorant of it. Okay. They are in love with their Kennedy fairy tales and the royalty bullshit. When the real heirs to the kingdom are sitting here uniting and standing up against it. Okay. They call us liars. They call us all kinds of things. All right. I don't blame them. If I was ignorant still, I'd do the same thing. Right. You know, what I blame is the idiot that got on camera as an actor last night at the State of the Eggs address and said the stupid shit that he said, and nobody in front of him called him out except for Al Green. Okay, and all that got turned into by the media is Democrat versus Republican bullshit, right?
Yep.
So then you got those that are fast asleep, still thinking this is Democrat versus Republican.
Yep.
You know, while they watch a screenplay played out on TV, believing the shit is real and therefore making it real. Okay, you know, don't be mad at them. Just tell them to shut the hell up. Let us do our thing, and they'll be just fine. All right. And we got to start telling Trump to shut the hell up. I mean, he spoke about trafficking the children, that every child born as they are was a perfect creation. Yet and still, Don Jr.'s son was transgendered. Kai is a boy, but they parade him around like a girl. Okay.
Yeah, and she's got her own channel now, and the kids are looking up to her. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, she got 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, and she just got on there and already has 1 million. Come on now.
You know how hard that is to get 1 million? You know how hard it is just to get a few thousand people? I mean, how does your kids how can our average kid even relate to somebody whose parents or grandparents have billions of dollars?
Yeah, because they boosted her, of course. She just barely got on there.
But, so ignorant is just mean you ignore, is to ignore.
Right.
That's all that is. You just ignore the stuff in your face, but it's coming. But you can see here how they're talking about the digital thing, live smiling at each other and calling it the golden age. How the hell is this the golden age? I mean, come on, man.
They are a golden age. Look how much we're all worth on our birth certificates, right?
Well,
alone. But we're okay with them being billionaires.
Right. Look at what he just said. He said people want to put that law, that the incoming legislation on the digital piece out to sea. And which means that's admiralty maritime law, right? It's the law of the sea, right? That's where it belongs. And he just said we must keep it on land. Okay, that tells you the whole plan. All right, their goal is to continue to subvert and subvert as long as they can. As long as they can, and they're not the ones doing it, they're just reading the script. Okay?
Yeah, because the corporation only exists on paper. So they have to have actors to play the parts of the politicians. That's why you say you don't give your power up. You say they're acting as the president. They're acting as the senator. They're acting as the judge. And you get in the courtroom, right? They're just acting as. They're not really that.
Right.
Like you said, like the Clearfield Doctrine says, it's just they're just merely a the equivalent of a citizen. They're not, and they only exist on paper. That's it. We give it the power. They go in and read the scripts printed up by AI. They don't write this shit. Same thing with Trump speeches and Biden speeches and Obama speeches.
Look,
it's all
the acting president, right?
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Mm-hmm.
Actors.
Listen, those of you that just want this to play out without any interjection in it, please, guys, if we do not interject, we will fall prey to it too. Okay? Thinking that Trump somehow is going to come out the shiny object at the end of this is crazy. They're all going down. Okay? I don't have anything to do with that. Q doesn't have anything to do with that. It was a part of creation 26,000 years ago. Okay? Period, point blank. AI was here then. Okay? You think this is some 2,000-year-old plan? Bullshit. AI was the first thing here. It's energy. All they're doing is demonizing AI so that they can maintain the control of it. Every time there's been a reset, it's who's going to control AI. We've already told you when it comes to commerce, religion, and law, commerce, religion, and law, we've already shown you, okay? We've shown ourselves. We didn't want to have to agree with some of this shit either. But we've already shown everybody, including ourselves, that they can go find the answers that they're looking for if they'll just go look for them. Okay? There is no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not right. I don't have all the answers. The sheepdogs aren't right. They don't have all the answers. But what we do is have a heart, and we're willing to share it with anybody. Donald Trump is not sharing his heart with you. He's sharing it with them people. He's part of the club. Whether he's an actor, real, ever existed or not, who gives a shit? He's part of the club. Make this about the children. And let's all stand up and show up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And demand accountability and repercussions, consequences for their actions. Not re-elect them every election. The same people that released the COVID vaccines got all re-elected. Make sense.
I think David represents promises made, promises kept. I love the campaign trail, and President Trump's out there making promises, and we see today he's keeping those promises. And in so many ways, I think back to a kid as I was a long time ago.
So I want to say thank you to our community. I will not be back until next week, Wednesday. I have several different projects that I'm working on.
All right, guys, I'm going to short it right there. I'll share the video out. We're a little over right now. If this offended you, that's good, because that means or did something to you or affected you in any way, that's good, because you need to see it in order for you to grow and wake the hell up to what's taking place. It doesn't matter who the actors are in there. We got to come together one way or another and put an end to the bullshit before
we go through more shit we don't want to go through.
I'm not going to do more shit. I don't know what's up with these hand signals. Well, everybody does it. Trump does it. If Trump could put up a hand signal with his feet, he would. But they all do this. What? If Trump could, he would throw you an Illuminati sign with his feet. They're constantly doing this shit in your face, and you don't get it. You know, especially what's his name? Trump's son, Don Jr. Not Don Jr. What's the other Trump son? The blonde? I can't remember.
Eric.
He was throwing that shit up at the inauguration so hard, it was his wife had to tell him to stop. We thought it stood for Space Force. No. No. That's all I got.
Well, you know, we've been working with close to 400 people on the trust, and that is a part of claiming your birthright. Okay, it's not the big part of what we got to get done. It is an important part. Don't get me wrong, but to go within and discover your own truth, it is a big part of the biggest part of this when it comes to saving the children. Okay, because we have to be reborn again in this time with a new mind and a new heart. Okay, and not to say anybody has a bad heart or is evil. What I'm saying is part of the process. It's a natural thing that's going to happen. All right. If you're hung here and there, you will naturally get rid of it. When you feel like you're hung and there's no end in sight, that's when you need to disconnect from it. Okay? Disconnect from it for a period of time until you can get past it. All right? Absolutely. We all need to be prepared both mentally and spiritually for what's to come. All right, because seeing these people who aren't awake yet fall for the pimp daddy narratives and all the rest of the crap is not easy. Okay, and empaths, they tend to take on the emotional state of those that are in pain. Okay, and so on and so forth. We tend to all of us tend to yearn for the hurt of the children because it's happening every day. A child's born every minute. Okay. And the bright light ain't what it is when you come out of the womb. That's how they start it, right? And right on into the cutting of the cord where they disconnect you immediately. And so on and so forth. It's a horrid story, right? They take something that is a beautiful, beautiful part of creation, full of love, and they turn it into their beliefs and worldviews versus allowing it to happen naturally. As adults, we're all here, and it can naturally happen. We're seeing children born every day, and yes, despite the disconnect, children are still starting to speak earlier. They're starting to recognize the 2-year-olds are doing algebra. Okay, we come equipped. Go within, folks. Go within. Don't be afraid to stand naked, fully naked in front of it all. Strip yourself of everything you once knew. And love yourself, trust yourself. Ask into the ether, the creator, the questions, and the energy be afforded for you. There's provision for every one of us through our birthright, both spiritually and physically. The metaphysical aspect of this, yes, Tasha, you can still throw eggs. Absolutely. I might join you. We'll get us an egg launcher, right?
That'd be fun.
You better get some funding for those eggs. It's going to cost a bit.
Yes. I can see it now. Mike Penny in jail for stealing 60 dozen eggs.
Oh my gosh.
$2,000. Nice.
$2,000 for the eggs.
Definitely a felony.
Yeah, right. Yeah, potatoes are cheaper, right? But love is the energy. Love is the currency to ascend, folks. That's what it is. Really, it is. Donna said she'll get a GoFundMe started for us. Awesome. And the egg catapult. All right. Oh, so we love you all. Thank you all for sticking with us tonight. Some of the information is tough to hear. Some of it we're hearing over and over again, but you know, we have to sometimes do it because not everybody that listens is on the same wavelength. Okay. And we're all at different places in our journey, and we have to realize how strong we really are as we go through the process of growing into what the new world brings from Mother Earth and her children, right? And the child, and we're all children of God too. So the Creator, right? And both creators, we're co-creators in all of it. Love each and every one of you. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.